Hey guys, this is day 4 of your spring break math challenge given to you by your teachers to do at least 5 problems every day and then to come check out my video afterwards to check your answers. So today we're doing 16 through 20, which is to solve each equation. So remember, when we're solving an equation, that means we are finding the number that the variable is equal to. So our unknown variable is v in this problem in number 16, where we have 3 equals v plus 10 divided by 7. What I usually do for these problems, and I showed you this yesterday, is I draw a line that separates both sides of the equals so that we know that we have to do the same thing to both sides, whatever we do to it. I've also been showing you guys a do and undo chart, all right, which means that we are going to go through what's being done to the variable, which is v in this case, so I'll just circle that to make sure that we know what we are looking at. We're going to see what's being done to it first, and then done to it next, and then we're going to undo those in the opposite order. So we can see, just looking at the right side of the equation, that v is being added to 10. So that's what's being done first, is that we're adding 10, and the second thing we're doing is dividing by 7. All right, that fraction bar means division. All right, we have to think of v plus 10 as being in parentheses. So that means that we're adding that 10 first, and then we're dividing that by 7, which may have gone against your order of operation laws. So that's why I ask you guys to pretend that there are parentheses around that v plus 10, because that is what is happening first. All right. Now to undo, we have to do it in the opposite order of what's being done with the opposite signs. So what's being done last is divide by 7. So that's what we need to do first. When we undo is multiply by 7. All right. We're doing the opposite operation and in the opposite order. And then what's being done first is add 10, which means we need to subtract 10 in order to undo that. All right, so let's go ahead and do that to our equation. We're going to multiply our right side by 7, and we're going to multiply our left side by 7. Okay, so what that does over here is if I multiply this whole top by 7, I'm just going to end up having that these 7's cancel out, because 7 divided by 7 equals 1, and 1 times v plus 10 is just going to be v plus 10. So I'm going to have v plus 10 left over here. And then I've got 7 times 3, which is going to give me 21. All right, and I'll just put a little line under that so we can keep it separate. All right, and then so I've done my multiply by 7, my undo section, so now I need to subtract 10 from both sides, okay, which I'm going to do here. All right, positive 10 and a minus 10, that equals 0, and 0 plus v is just going to be v. So I have v on my right side, and then I've got 21 minus 10 on this side, and that's going to give me 11. All right, so v is equal to 11 in this case, and we can rewrite that over here. Oops. Not 10, 11, right? All right, so that's going to be our answer. If we were to plug that back in, we have 11 plus 10 equals 21, divided by 7 will give me 3. All right, so that question is good. We've checked our answer. We can move on. All right, number 17, similar problem. We are solving for x. All right, we just got to get rid of these parentheses, so we're going to do what's called simplifying, which means we're going to distribute first, and I want to do that first before we do our do and undo chart, so that we can get a better idea of what's going on to x, or what's happening to x. So this side of my equal stays the same because the 5 is not over there, all right? But we are going to multiply 5 to 4x into 2, and 5 times 4x gives me 20x, and then 5 times 2 gives me 10. So I have 20x plus 10, and then this equals 130 on this side. Go ahead and draw your line down the middle, or excuse me, over the equal sign, so that you can see both sides of your equal. And let's do our do and undo chart. All right. Remember, in the do and undo chart, we are just worried about what's happening to our variable. So x is our variable. I circled it there. First thing that's being done to it is it says 20x. Remember that if there's a number next to a variable there, that's going to be multiplication as our operation. So the first thing we would be doing to x is multiplying it by 20, and then the second thing we're doing is adding 10, or the last thing I should say we're doing is adding 10. So in order to undo 20x plus 10, we're going to go the opposite order with the opposite operations. So plus 10 is the last thing that's happening in the do column, so it needs to be the first thing that happens in the undo column, except for we need to change the sign to minus, right? And then the first thing being done in the do column is multiply by 20, which means the last thing in the undo column needs to be divide by 20. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's subtract 10 from both sides of my equal. All right, over here we're going to get 120 equals 20x, because remember, a positive 10 and negative 10 equals 0, and 20x plus 0 is just going to be 20x. All right, and let's divide by 20. Okay, our 20s over here are going to cancel, so we're left with x by ourselves, because 20 divided by 20 is equal to 1, and 1 times x equals x. All right, and let's do 120 divided by 20, and that's going to give us 6. All right, so in this problem here, x equals 6. All right, cool. All right, and let's just check our answer on that one, just in case we get it wrong, because sometimes math teachers get it wrong too. All right, so let's do 4 times 6. All right, because we do what's in our parentheses first. That's going to give us 24, and then add the 2. That gives us 26, and 26 times 5 gives us 130. So our answer for number 17 is also correct. Number 18. Very similar to number 17, actually. It was just a little bit of an extra thing here with that minus 3a on the outside. So remember back to a couple days ago, we did some simplifying. We're going to have to simplify again, in this case, by distributing 5 to everything inside the parentheses, but also to combine our like terms. So that negative 3a is going to be a like term with something inside our parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that. So I got negative 100 over here equals 5 times 8 is 40, and then 5 times negative 5a is negative 25a minus 3a. All right, we need to combine our like terms, which is negative 25a and negative 3a, and we get negative 100 equals 40 minus 28a. All right, so maybe if you got this problem wrong, I would check this step right here, okay? Let's do our do and undo chart. Okay, and let's draw our line down our equal sign. All right, what's being done to a first is that we are multiplying it by negative 28. Okay, so please make sure that even though it's at the end of the problem, we are multiplying it by negative 28 first. And it doesn't have a plus sign in front of it, but since that 40 is positive, that means we're adding 40 to a after we're multiplying it by negative 28. So in order to undo, we need to do the opposite in the opposite order. So I'm going to subtract 40 first, and then I'll divide by negative 28. All right, we've got some big numbers here, so have a calculator handy and check my work as we go. Okay. All right, so let's subtract 40 from both sides. Okay. All right, 40 minus 40 gives me 0, and 0 plus negative 28a is going to just be negative 28a. All right, so we've got that part so far. And then a negative 100 minus 40 is going to be negative 140. Okay. So we know a is going to be positive because we're going to end up dividing both sides by a negative number. All right. And negative divided by negative gives me a positive. So this negative 28 divided by negative 28 gives me a positive 1, which is just a. 1 times a equals a. And then we've got 140, negative 140 divided by negative 28, which is going to give me a positive number. And if I type that into my calculator, I'm getting 5. So I'm getting a equals 5. And as always, I would check your answer in the context of the original question, just to check. All right, so negative 5 times 5 gives me 25. 8 minus 25 is going to give me negative 17 times 5 gives me negative 85, and then we want to subtract 3 times 5 from that, which is going to be negative 100. So our answer does check out, and we're good for number 18. Number 19, a lot